Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm going to share with you my anxiety story. I was sort of inspired to do this because I saw on YouTube Schizophrenic One. He was sharing his uh, experience with schizophrenia, and I was sort of inspired to share my experience with my anxiety disorder. And just sort of in the hopes that it would maybe help help someone, or just maybe help better explain what I've been through and why I'm the weirdo that I am to maybe people that know me. Um, so yeah, I guess I kind of want to do like a series of videos with this. My hair's like sticking out like crazy. It's okay. Whatever. That's gonna bug me anyway. um, yeah, I kind of want to just do a series of videos about my anxiety in different um, sort of fashions. I guess I should start out. Um, there's like a really bad glare. Anyway, I guess I should sort of start out explaining what my exact diagnosis is, and I do have an official diagnosis, so yay for that. Um, my official diagnosis, well, I have two. One is depression, and the other one is generalized anxiety disorder, which is also known as GAD. Um, I was diagnosed with both of those when I was, let's see, 18? No, 17. I was 17. Yeah. So my whole anxiety experience, that really began when I was 17. Though really, I had been suffering from anxiety for way longer before that, basically my entire life. But we never really knew that's what it was. For example, when I was a little kid, I was anxious all the time. I'd wake up in the middle of the night feeling like I was gonna die, that I was dying. I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. I was gonna die. This is when I was like 5 or 6, like really young. And I'd go to my parents and just be like, "Mom, I think I'm dying. I think I'm having a heart attack. You gotta take me to the hospital. You gotta do something. I'm dying." And I guess at the time, it was sort of just attributed to like, well, Michelle's getting older and she's better understanding the world. She's maybe getting a grasp on what death is, and she's afraid of that because she's understanding what it is and that it happens to everyone. And I guess it was sort of just attributed to that kind of like, I don't know, like childhood phase that someone would go through. But for me, it was just really nuts, and this wasn't just like a one-time thing. Like, it happened several times, and it would go on for a long period of time, where I was just so afraid of dying, of everything, and just sort of in general when I was a kid too. I was I was just a super cautious kid to begin with. I was always terrified of everything. I was very cautious. I never did anything without analyzing the fuck out of it before I did it. Um, I was always worried about consequences, not in like a, well, I'm going to be punished way, just in a very like, what if I do something wrong way. Um, and I was very shy. I didn't talk to hardly anyone, and I'm still kind of shy, but I am better about it. Um, but yeah, I was just super shy. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I was always the kid that would hide behind their mom's skirt, and like hiding from people, and I was always super avoidant when it came to people that I didn't want to deal with or want to talk with, and that carried on for a very long time. It kind of still happens now, but yeah. What was I talking about? I was talking about something. Right, just anxiety as a kid. It wasn't great. Of course, when I was a kid, I didn't know that's what it was, but it really affected everything that I did, especially socially. I was very, very quiet. Um, I didn't talk to anyone. Like, I was the weird kid sitting um, at a table in class, not talking to anyone um, ever. Because in my head, I was like, well, if I don't talk to people, if I don't say anything, then they'll have no reason to make fun of me, right? If I don't say anything, because I won't say anything dumb or whatever. I won't invite conversation for where someone could say something mean. Um, of course, that is no way to live. But that's what I did. That's how I protected myself. As a kid, I was taller than all my teachers in first grade. I was a little chubby. Now I'm a lot chubby. It's cool. I'm into it. I've accepted it. I've accepted that I'm not, like a standard beauty or whatever, and that's cool. I am honestly, I can honestly say that I am into how I look. I know a lot of people might just be like, "Oh, you are my worst nightmare. Your face is," but I think I at least look unique. Maybe I don't know. But anyway, I'm cool with it. I'm not worried about like people saying like, "Oh, you're fucking fat," or "Oh, you're ugly," or "Oh, whatever" to me anymore. I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. So, oh my god, I'm sorry. I just burped. That's super gross. We all do it, so. um, but yeah, as a kid, that was one of my huge worries. Was just being further bullied about how I looked, how I acted. Because as a kid, I had this tick that I couldn't really control, and whenever I got this is, I mean, I'm talking real little kid, like 3, 4, or whatever. I had this tick where if I got excited about something, or if I was super amped, or just super emotional about something, I would just kind of like flap my hands, like kind of like, I don't know, like basically the kind of movement that like Miss America contestants will do when they've found out that they've won, the kind of like thing. I would do that a lot, and I got some like weird comments about that, like what the fuck. But even then, I think that was just a way that I kind of dealt with just extreme emotion, because I don't know. There's something with my brain where it doesn't process emotion that well. Wow, I've been talking for 8 minutes. That's shitty. I haven't even talked about anything yet. Anyway, so even as a kid, I was a mess. I was an anxious mess. Um, but I guess my first breakdown, that didn't happen until I was 17. Like my real anxious breakdown, and that sort of occurred. I really, I really don't like talking about this because even now, I'm 23 now, and I just turned 23 like 2 weeks ago. Um, Even now, I don't like talking about it because it still freaks me out. Just remembering how I felt and everything that came along with it, it freaks me out still just to think about it, which is silly, but I feel, you know. Um, anyway, I was 17, and I remember this very clearly. It was December of 2007, late December, after Christmas, like a couple days after Christmas. Um, and that week had been pretty normal, the week leading up to my break or my first panic attack. Like, real, like, what the fuck is happening? I'm dying panic attack. Since I was, I guess, a little kid. Because really, I guess the things that happened when I was a little kid were basically panic attacks, but I mean, I didn't know that's what they were then. But anyway, 17, my first panic attack. The week up to that had been super normal. I it was my winter break from school, so I had like gone to the movies with my friends and all of this stuff. Um, it had been normal. Nothing really out of the blue had happened, which is part of the reason why it took me so long to figure out what the fuck was going on with this whole anxiety thing, because it really came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, I had obviously had problems with anxiety before, like previously in my life, because I sort of just, I don't know, I always assumed everyone felt as anxious as I did. I always assumed everyone was always terrified to talk to anyone, and experienced just like racing, anxious thoughts. But I mean, that's not true. I mean, obviously, everyone has anxiety sometimes, but not like clinical anxiety like I do. Um, so anyway, it came out of the blue. That's one of the reasons why it scared the shit out of me so bad. But anyway, I was 17. I'm sorry. This is so over the place, but I was 17. I was going to see The Golden Compass in theaters with my aunt and my younger brother. And in the middle of the movie, and it was like a dramatic part, but nothing that should really have made what happened, what made it happen, whatever. Um, anyway, it was the part of the movie, and I just suddenly felt like my mouth was super dry, and I remember thinking, like, why is my mouth so dry? It's dry out of nowhere. And I felt fluttering in my heart. There's this anxious, like, there aren't enough lifeboats, the ship's going down feeling of panic, just total panic. And at the time I was thinking, well, oh my gosh, let's see, I'm getting really thirsty. My heart is doing weird shit. I'm super tensed up, like every muscle in my body is just hulking out. I remember thinking, like, what the fuck's happening? What the fuck's happening? This is really scary. And I kept building it up inside my brain. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Everything I was feeling was happening to me. It wasn't just like, well, you made it all up. I mean, it was real. It was happening. Um, anyway, so I was freaking out. Sorry, I'm on my floor. Whatever. I was freaking out. At the time, I was thinking, well, I probably have diabetes. I'm probably having a super sugar high, super sugar low. I'm gonna die. Either I'm having a heart attack or I'm going into like diabetic shock. I'm gonna die. And the whole diabetes thing, I don't have diabetes. I've never been close to having diabetes. I, I don't want to get into like my health with you because I'm sure plenty of people are just like, well, you're fat, so it's coming for you, bitch. And like, I'm not even gonna get into my health with you because it's nobody's business, but my health is like pretty fucking awesome. Even though I'm fat. Would you believe it if I told you I eat fruit and vegetables and I exercise sometimes and whew. But anyway, that's like beyond whatever. I'm sorry. God damn, this video is 13 minutes. Okay, I'm really bad at this, but maybe I'll get better. I was having panic attack. And the whole diabetes thing came from the fact that my dad had been diagnosed with diabetes like a year or two before. So it was fresh in my mind because I saw my dad dealing with it every day, and that terrified me. I was very scared of it. So I don't know. In my brain, I just associated that with what was happening with me, which didn't make sense, but I don't know. So what I did was I went to the bathroom a couple of times. Oh, I went to the bathroom once during the movie to try to compose myself, which was not working. I could not compose myself for shit. I thought I was dying. And I was freaking out. I went back into the theater. I grabbed my aunt, or I told my aunt, look, I need to go to the doctor right now. We gotta go. We gotta fucking go. Move. And of course she was like, what is happening? But she thought Like, well, damn, Michelle says she's dying. I better hustle on this because I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know. I don't want to risk having a dead niece. So she took me to, at the time was my pediatrician's office, and I just remember running in there and just like slamming my fist on the table and just being like, I need to see someone now. I think something's going on with me and it's not good and I'm freaking out and I think I might be dying. I don't know. I think I might have diabetes. I don't know. I'm sure I look fucking crazy because I remember the look on the nurses' like faces, like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, well, you have to like wait 15 minutes because we don't really have an open appointment right now, but we'll try to get you in to see someone. And I got in to see someone, and they took my blood pressure, and it was like crazy hot because of course I was freaking the fuck out. I was in the middle of a panic attack, and they were like, well, this is really high. We're gonna have to measure you back in a couple of seconds, or not a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes. And of course that like fueled me into a whole other like frenzy of like, I'm fucking dying. It's true. It's happening. This shit is live. And turns out wasn't dying. They weren't sure what was going on with me, so they scheduled me to have a bunch of tests, a bunch of blood work, a bunch of, I don't know, just shit. So, but they couldn't schedule me to do that for like another like 5 days or something. So for those 5 days, I went home and I just was having basically nonstop panic attacks. And it was the worst. It was the worst like time of my life. Just I could not calm down at all. I was tense everywhere. I had all these physical symptoms, which just sort of helped my mental symptoms of freaking the fuck out, help them along. It was just a mess. It's a fucking hot mess. Not even a hot mess, just a mess. Sorry, I'm like playing with this. It helps me if I like kind of fidget with something. This is really weird for me to talk about, and I hate talking in webcam anyway because it's weird. I'm looking at myself talk. I feel like weird about it. I don't know. So yeah, it took a long time for them to finally give me the tests. And I know like 5 days maybe doesn't sound that long, but for me, who was in fucking turmoil, it was like a damn eternity. And one of the reasons why it took so long was because I think New Year's Eve and like New Year's Day and all that shit happened and their offices were closed. It took even longer than that. So I went back in, I had all the blood tests done, I had all the work done. It took like another couple days to get the test results back. They're like, well, everything's fine. You're fine. And I was like, I'm not fucking fine though. Like, I'm not fucking fine. What do you mean I'm fucking fine? There's gotta be something. You overlooked something. I have like a tumor in my brain. There's something. Because like acting like I've been acting, that's not fine. What world? What kind of world? But anyway, that was a whole other kind of fucking hoopla. So they referred me to a therapist, and it took me like a month to get into the fucking therapist. So if you can imagine this, by this time I had gone back to school. I could not function. I was just sitting there terrified the entire time. It was hell on earth. I was just thinking like, well, I'm gonna have to drop out. I can't do this. I'm freaking the fuck out. And I was doubting my sanity. I was having periods of just like completely disassociating, which is common with anxiety, especially panic attacks. I was kind of at the point where I was questioning if anything was real. Nothing mattered. Words were just sounds. It didn't fucking matter. Nothing mattered to me. I thought I was going crazy. I had an uncle that was schizophrenic, so I was even super concerned, like, well, I'm becoming schizophrenic. This is what's happening. I'm fucking crazy. I can't control myself. I'm gonna have to live my rest of my life in a mental institution. I'm losing it. And it was terrifying. I don't think there's anything scarier than losing your own sense of self, your own sanity, and that's what I felt like I was going through. And I was terrified because I don't know. I don't think there's anything scarier than that, really. So anyway, it took me like forever to get in just to see a therapist. I went in to see her, and I just remember bawling my eyes out because I was so scared that I didn't know what the fuck was happening with me. It felt like I was dying all the time. So I talked to her. I saw her a couple of times. She was pretty helpful, but at the same time, she could have been better. But I mean, I'm not here to critique her. That's not what this video is about. It's already 20 minutes long, so. Um, like I said, I was freaking out. And of course, therapists, they can't prescribe medication or anything like that. And by this time, I was so fucking desperate. I was just like, well, what can I do? And she gave me all these, relaxation techniques to try to do in the meantime, and CDs to listen to do like guided meditation. I tried it, but I was in such a frenzy that like nothing worked. I couldn't calm down. I was like, someone needs to knock me the fuck out, because I couldn't calm down. And if you can imagine, this went on for over a month. Just being ruined. I don't know. I'll try to go into more detail about this like in further videos, because I know I'm just sort of rambling, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what was happening. Anyway, it took me like another month to get in to see a psychiatrist who could prescribe me something, because medication scared the shit out of me, because of course, like everyone with antidepressants, which help with anxiety a lot usually, of course, like everyone, I had heard all the studies that were made popular in the 2000s about like, well, with teenagers, which I was at the time, I was 17, it makes them suicidal. It's the apocalypse sometimes for teenagers. And of course I was freaked out about that, because I was like, well, if this shit could make me crazier, I can't even imagine that. I'd have to kill myself. Like, I never seriously thought about killing myself, but I was sort of at the end of my rope, where I was just like, after months of this, I was just like, well, if I go on these medications and it makes me crazier, or if it doesn't stop what's going on, because all I wanted it was to stop, just to go away. I was like, well, I was normal like 2 months ago. How can I was normal once. How could this have happened? It was crazy. It was like something from another fucking planet. But I remember thinking, well, I can't live like this. I might have to do something drastic if this shit does not work, because I can't live like, I can't. Which was really scary, and I think I told my mom that I was feeling that way. I'm sure I terrified her, which I feel really bad about. I know I stressed the fuck out of my parents, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. Anyway, I got in to see a psychiatrist. He looked a lot like Dr. Drew, which, as someone who listened to Loveline as a teenager, like 13, a lot, I was like, I'm saved. Go play some Germany or Florida. He's gonna save me. I trust him. He was not a great psychiatrist to begin with, really. In retrospect, he was kind of an asshole. But he could write prescriptions, so I was like, let's go. Anyway, he, asked me the basic questions, and it was super quick, and he was like, well, I'm going to prescribe you, I don't remember what I started out with. I think it was like 25 milligrams or something, of Zoloft. Of course, I was super anxious about taking this medication, because of all the whole, suicide in teenagers and all this shit that was associated with antidepressants. Which I'm not saying, they can't cause that, but it was so sensationalized that it's like, I thought that was definitely going to happen to me. So anyway, I went on Zoloft, and I'm not going to lie to you, the first 2 or 3 weeks I was on Zoloft, I felt way crazier than I had before. Like, I could not sleep. I could not eat. My thoughts are flying at 1,000 seconds. 1,000 seconds. At like 1,000 feet per minute. Doesn't make sense. Whatever. They're going really fast. I was super manic. I was super, not manic, but just super out of it. Not out of it. I was super hyper. I was hyper as fuck. I was so nervous and on edge, and even more so than I had been before, which had been a lot before. But yeah, for those 2 weeks or so, I was just like, it was horrible, and I was just like, well, this is happening. I'm getting the suicidal symptoms. And I mean, of course I wasn't really, but it did fuck with my brain chemistry. And I don't know if a lot of that was just me being anxious about going on it, which sort of just enhanced all the other anxiety I was feeling, but that's what happened. Anyway, I made it through that somehow. I don't know how, because really it was horrible. But I made it through that, and slowly, very slowly, I started feeling a little bit better. It took several months before I felt at all normal again, really. But it was a slow climb once I started on medication. So everything slowly got more tolerable. I think I went on medication like in March of 2008, and I didn't really feel 100% until like July. But I was slowly feeling better, so that helped a lot. Now I don't really have panic attacks as often. I've had bad periods, had very bad periods, but nothing as bad as my initial experience with panic attacks, with depression. I didn't really touch on the depression I was feeling, but I was extremely depressed as well with the panic attacks, which is like being pulled apart because on one hand, you're tense, your mind's racing, you're freaking the fuck out, you can't sit still, you can't sleep, you can't do anything. But on the other hand, you're so sad, you're crying all the time for no reason, you think nothing matters, nothing is real. And together, it's just like a fucking cocktail of crazy, because I was going through both at the same time. But yeah, now, I mean, I've had periods, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've had periods that were very bad, anxiety and depression wise, but I mean, currently it's 2013 of August now, and I'm generally fine. I don't really have panic attacks anymore. I'm still kind of an anxious person, but it's good. Like I'm good. So just kind of to touch on that, that's sort of, this video is like half an hour long. I'm gonna end it. But yeah, just to give you an idea of kind of what my experience was. This was super messy. I'm super sorry, but yeah, I'm gonna try to make videos later on that touch more on specific elements of anxiety and depression. And I don't know, maybe this helps someone. At least maybe it explained the story a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to leave me a comment, that's fine. I appreciate it. But yeah, I hope to talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching, I guess. Bye.